Come on, welcome on in. Welcome in. Welcome in, beautiful queens. Come on, welcome in. If you're new to this live, go ahead and share this live and connect with me by following me. Hello, beautiful people. My name is Arshia. I'm an energetic alchemist coach. And if you're ready to go to the next level, this is the live for you. All right, we're going to be getting into this live promptly. Okay, this live is going to be for the high value queens who's ready to go to the next level. This live is going to be for the corporate baddies. What are corporate baddies at? This live is going to be for the queens who's ready to upscale their life. Okay, so if that's you, this is the live for you. This isn't the live for women who want to create excuses. So if you're ready to tap into your goddess and your queendom, this is the live for you. Do you hear me? So let's keep going. Let's keep going. So we're gonna go in. Whoever is following me, thank you so much. Those of you who's new to this live, my name is Arshia. I'm an energetic alchemist coach, and if you're ready to go to the next level, let's go. So we're going to be talking about closing the energetic money gap. You heard what I said. Closing the energetic money gap. And I know a lot of this topic is touchy topic, but we got to talk about it. We got to get into it, okay? So you know me, I'm going to have from number 1 to number 6, and then I'm going to ask you guys to write down different things. So, okay, just follow along. We're going to get into it, okay? We're going to talk about the gap, closing the gap when it comes to the money gap, okay? So I know a lot of people are used to hearing what the corporations have to do. No, baby, it's going to be based on you and your level to do the work. Okay? So let's go get into it. So of course, when it comes to the energetic money gap, you already know a little bit about the history, but let's tap into it. You already know when it comes to the money gap, who is the majority of the people that's winning? Is male population. And I understand the system wasn't created for us to win, and I understand that. But if you know who you are, you can win in the system. Okay? Welcome. So number 1, we're going to be talking about the gender pay gap. And we all know in history, they always said the woman was supposed to stay at home, be the caregiver, the nurturer, the one who did the homemaking and all that kind of stuff. But guess what? You have the power to shift and change the trajectory at any given time. And I know a lot of people always say, but the corporations and how they have the system set up. No, let me tell you something. Whenever you create in your mindset who you are, by getting to know who you are, then you're going to automatically create that shift. Okay? So, but before we even get to the gender pay gap and all that good stuff, in the history, how men is consistently making more than women, let's talk about, do you know your worth in order to go into the workplace or into different environments when it comes to creating your own revenue, right? So sometimes we can't bypass the system, or whenever they say a computer, you cannot bypass setting up the computer system. You have to set it up, right? To be like a function when it comes to English, or if you function in Spanish or French, You can't bypass the settings, but what you can do is create a system within yourself so you could be able to not fit in but stand out to the into a part where you can create your own shift when it comes to creating your own revenue in your own business and in your own lane. But creating the gap and not separating the gap, it starts with you. It don't start with the corporation. It starts with you knowing your worth. So let's get into it. Number one, the gender pay gap. Okay? Now we all know in studies of consistency of men, how they on average know how to get the bag, get the money. Right? And it's set up that way. Okay? So you already know the male counterpart performs. They might not perform the same, but most likely they are earning more than the woman. And I'm gonna tell you something. When it comes to the energetic gap of money, guess what? I don't know how or what system that the men created, but they know they work when it comes to pay. They know they work. They don't have to rehearse for it. They just be. And that's the same thing that we have to do as divine queens. We gotta be sometimes and know our worth when it comes to going into different organizations. And I just seen a course I was looking at about creating corporate contracts. And it is not going out here and obtaining different skills. It's something working with something that you already have. And that's what I'm talking about whenever you know that you are that girl, you are that goddess, you create from a space that you already operate in. And that's the same thing. So if you decide you want to stay in that same bracket or that same mindset, like, oh my God, men is doing this. No, let's join them. Or let's get some advice from them to see how they structure their contracts. Because you already know they're not leaving nothing on the table. So instead of trying to create a war, let's work together, right? So let's go forward. So when it comes to the unpaid care work, so women don't even understand all of these stuff because we don't go back and read our history sometimes. Sometimes we don't do the research. We just give what other people give to us. We don't even know how to negotiate our pay, our work when it comes to our skill set level. Women tend to take the disappointment. What I can say by disappointment is they share the unpaid care work, such as caregivers, elderly care, household chores. So that's unpaid care work, right? Back in the day, we was told to be in the house and cook and clean and all that kind of stuff. But what if you could put a value to that? So you could be like, baby, I'm going to be at home. I'm going to make it do what it do while I'm at home. But it comes with a cost, right? This is my value when it comes to being at home, right? You have to know your value when it comes to that, y'all. And then also, by knowing your value, it can also not knowing your value can limit the ability of when it comes to the engagement of paid work or pursue career and advancement of opportunities. So it's time to stop taking the low stick. It's time to stop accepting certain things. And let me tell you something, lack of representation when it comes to leadership roles. We need to see more women in leadership roles. We're talking about we want to stop the energetic money gap, but why are you not in the role? I know some people I was on some shows with, they talk about, oh, they need to do this in place, and they need to put this person in office. You can't make a change by talking. Baby, you got to make a change by getting in those positions. And are you willing to get in those positions and stop sleeping on yourself? That's a question that you need to ask yourself. Okay? So when it comes to the leadership roles, and let me tell you something. When you hear leadership roles, when it comes to women, it can be scary, right? People think being a leader have to be masculine, have to be a boss, telling somebody what to do and dictating. No, it's different types of leadership, right? And whenever you able to connect, it's all about connecting. Whenever you all know how to connect with different people and network, then you get a different type of result out of people, because not you're not only dictating, you're able to get the most productive work out of other people. So when people see that you're in that type of leadership role, then they trust you to be in those type of roles, but also you creating a revenue for yourself, and also you taking the stigma off of women have to work their way or slave their way or do anything pertaining to leadership roles. When this comes pertaining to leadership roles, women, you ain't got to do all that extra stuff like people say you got to do. You ain't got to be waiting for nobody to put you in position. Like, you ain't got to be waiting for somebody to put you at the table when you can create your own table. Okay? So we, in 2024, we're creating our own table, and we're doing it in ease. And for the women that's in this chat and you loving this information, say that I am a goddess, because you got to connect with your goddess. You got to know that you that girl, you that queen, you that high value queen, you are currency, and you are worthy of closing the energetic gap. But let me tell you something, it doesn't start with corporation, it starts with you. Because you have to already know your work before you even go into that establishment. And it took me a while to shift my mind. It took me a while to get there, because even though I obtained so many credentials and educational background, but guess what? My development when it came to my self-worth, it didn't amount to the degrees that I had. I had to do some development in those areas. And so you feel like you want to close the gap, but you're not talking about how you are developing. You taking time to develop in those areas. So you have to know how to develop in those areas in order for you to close that gap. Okay, let's go forward. We already know that discrimination and bias still linger. No matter where we go, it still lingers in the workplace. Okay, it could be biases against women in the workplace, and such as sometimes men don't want to take I'm gonna say they don't want to take calls from women. They don't want to take instruction from women. But if you know your stuff and you did the development like I told you, you know how to communicate to that man so he can be perfective, or you can communicate to your team so they can be perfective. Such as, if you guys heard of a scrum master, a scrum master is a servant leader, and the scrum master is in the IT field, meaning the information technology field, and is in a management level. Okay, and what they do is consistent of you working with the development team, and you're working with the product owner. So you're working on a project. Say you might be working with a client and they want their website to be popping. They want colors, they want features, they want the different benefits on their website. So you working with the team, and as a scrum master, you know the policies and procedures, and you know how to bring the team together so they can do sprints. Sprints are consecutive meetings within 2 week time frame, and within that time frame you are able to come to the table. Say a to-do list, I'm gonna write it on here, right. So you have a project that you need done, and as a scrum master or a product owner, you have everything that you need to get done within those 2 weeks or that sprint. And then you every day the IT team move this task from here. Okay, what needs to be done from right here. And then also, as time progresses, then you're going to move it right here, because now you done with that task. And at the end of the sprint, guess what? You're going to be finding out, okay, what are the impediments that we did? What is something that we got to work on as a team? And as that scrum master, the servant leader, like you are as a goddess, You know how to conduct your team. You know how to get the most out of your team. You know how to bring the person that's an introvert into a conversation so they could be productive. You know how to keep the product owner engaged and help them stay on task. And that's the same thing when it comes to being a leader. It's different leadership styles. Okay, that was just a little snippet of a leader. Okay, let's go further. Lack of financial education. We can't say we want to get to the bag if you don't know your freedom score. Your freedom score is, I need this X amount of revenue, I need this X amount of dollar so I can free myself from a job. I can free myself from this. So you have to know your financial score, right? You gotta know what you're lacking in. It's just like you reading the paper or you grading the paper and you see nothing but red marks on it. You can either embrace it or you can be scared of seeing those red marks. So by you having lack of financial education, that means that you're losing at this money game, right? Because you saying that you want to close the gap, but you have to research, right? I'm gonna drop some names like Waka Flocka. He went to college, so a lot of people know him as an entertainer rapping. But guess what? He got his degree in researching the wealthy, meaning he was able to go in and research the people who's making money, how they making money, what they spending their money on. And that's the same thing you got to do when it comes to closing that money gap, right? So sometimes as high level queens, all right, you may face challenges such as financial education or development in the literacy in that area, or you might lack knowledge and confidence in managing personal finance and investments. Guess what? Once you continue to go forward and continue to look at it, it's like you opening an envelope and you seeing a bill and you don't want to see that bill. Guess what? You got to open that envelope. And it's the same thing is getting the education. Sometimes it might be some jargon. When you're unfamiliar with terminology is jargon, you don't know what it is. But once you get the definition, right? It's all definition. When you get the definition and the explanation and the examples, then you begin to break down some things in your head so you can begin to understand, okay, listen, this is what I'm lacking in. I'm not strong in this area. Who do I need to connect to? And what I need to read? Because everything is in a book, right? What I need to read to get my ROI, my return of investment. And that's the same thing in closing this gap. So it depends on how fast you want to close the gap. How fast do you want to continue to work on yourself and develop in those areas that you're lacking? Okay? So now, once you feel like, okay, I'm weak in this area, I don't know how to read a financial statement, you have YouTube, baby. You got YouTube University. It's going to break down every single thing that you're lacking so you can get ahead of the curveball. You want to close this gap, so it starts with you, okay? Let's go forward. Set clear financial goals. So how can you close this money gap if you're not saving, right? Money has to move. You got to learn how to invest in your future. You might say, man, I'm only making this certain amount. Might be on a fixed income. But let me tell you something. $5 a day goes a long way. $5 or even $25. You could put it in a account that will grow. All right? Whenever you start training yourself or start automatically withdrawing the money out of your account to go into an investment account or account that is get interest or compound interest, then that's when you start training yourself, right? But then when that money starts growing, you're going to start paying attention. And then you're going to start getting in environments where you start hearing the lingo, you start hearing the jargons. Right now you start getting familiar. I remember when I got into my master's program, everybody had a business except for me. Everybody, I was like, what in the heck? So once I started getting in the environment, and I start getting familiar with the jargon, guess what? It started being second nature. Whenever you close your money gap, you take out the middleman. You take out the middleman, right? It's all about legacy. It's all about creating generational wealth for you, right? So let's go forward. Start by setting clear and specific goals, financial goals, right? You know, a lot of people here say SMART goals, something that's obtainable, something that is reasonable. You know, you're not gonna set this goal, and you know you can't reach it. That's insanity, right? Define what you want to achieve financially. You might say, okay, I want to start off by investing in this course, creating my own beautiful e-course. Now I created my own beautiful e-course. Now, how can I put money towards marketing it? Right? Oh, how can I put money towards hiring somebody to fulfill those emails, fulfill this for me? You have to start putting things in place and creating a structure for you, right? Because at first I wasn't structured. I was all over the place, right? But where your focus goes, everything grows. Remember that. Okay, whether you're searching for a certain amount of money or paying off a debt. Like if you have debt and you're like, I still want to save, you can still put $25 here and start with your biggest bill or your however you want to do, your smallest bill. Start doing some debt stacking. Do the debt stacking, and when you start paying off that bill, don't be like, okay, I'm gonna go buy some Gucci shoes. No, baby, no, baby, no. Gucci is already paid. Gucci is already setting up for their next trip, honey. That bill that you paid off, go ahead and put it towards your savings. Put it towards something that you're invested in, okay? Let's keep going. Write down your goals and break them down into actionable steps. We talked about this. Now go to the next one. Create a budget and track your expenses. All of this might seem minor, but slowly you are closing the money gap, right? Let me tell you something. You can be at this mindset today, and then tomorrow you can wake up in this mindset because of your expending habits, because of your habits, right? It's all about habits. It's all about action you're taking. What action are you taking every day to change the trajectory of your life? And some women could be like, I'm a high earning queen. I'm a high earning king. I already making 6 figures. But baby, I know that you want to get higher. I know that you want to get to a higher bracket, right? You got to skill yourself. You got to do something that you never did in order to get into that bracket. That means you got to go and invest a higher amount to go to some conferences, to pay to get access, to rub elbows or knees with the CEO, presidents, the people that's in charge, calling the shots, in order for you to get this information, right? People give out the information if they know if you're willing to pay for it. It might sound crazy to some, but people are out here to do this, and this is how you're going to get to where you want to get to if you cut down on your excuses. Okay, let's go forward. Develop a plan. So when you develop this plan, get specific. Put everything into perspective. Everything that is coming in and everything that's coming out, right? Even in your spa bills, or you want to go and do like a luxury spa day or vacation, put all of that in there, right? Because you got to enjoy yourself while you changing your habits. Don't forget that. And let's go forward. Okay. Like I said, you got to understand a clear understanding where your money going. If your money going to food, guess what? You're really not that serious about changing your status or your tax bracket. You're really not that serious. Because let me tell you something. You can cut back for 6 to 6 months to a year to have a lifestyle change or a mindset change to get to where you are. You can come back on some expensive, come back on some things that you really thought you did need and you don't need, right? So we gotta move forward, thinking smarter and doing what we need to do in order to move forward. All right, let's keep going. Invest in personal development. We talked about this, all right? In your personal development growth. It's just like financial growth, right? And another thing I didn't put on here is spiritual growth. If you don't have that in place, how can you get and have the power in order to obtain all of this stuff, right? You got to develop in those areas. You got to be willing to develop in those areas. And also, those areas might scare you. And I said one day to my client is, stop working on stuff that you can obtain easily. Start working on stuff that's going to scare you. And start developing those areas. All right? So whenever it comes to the personal development or investing in your personal development, you have to acquire in new skills. Let me tell you something. When it came down to reading music notes when I was in music school, it stressed the hell out of me. Because it went from I loving music as a passion, now I gotta know how to read these notes on a piano or a guitar for a grade. Now it changed the trajectory. But guess what? By me developing in that area, now I'm able to hear certain things, right? And a professional level. And that's the same thing when it comes to closing the energetic money gap. You gotta know how money works. You gotta know how it circulates. You gotta know what's your relationship with money. Did you grow up in poverty? Did you grow up not having money? Did you grow up in a scarcity mindset when it comes to money? Right? You gotta know your relationship with money. Alright? So let's go forward. Practice mindfulness spending. Now, a lot of people might be waiting for their income tax to hit, baby. You might be rich for that little season, but let me tell you something. You want to be a rich fool and not a dumb fool. You want to be a rich fool and a dumb fool. What I mean by that is, even if you not having the means in the end of the year, but if you have it in the beginning of the year with your income tax, guess what? You can take a chunk of that, invest it into something that's going to give you back a return of your investments. Set up a business or have somebody set up something for you so you can obtain this stuff. You want to close the gap, but you're not willing to do the work. Like, make it make sense. Make it make sense. Okay? Be mindful when you're spending, when it comes to your spending habits. Okay? Be conscious of your choices about where you allocate your money. Alright? Prioritize your needs over your wants to avoid impulsive purchases. You know how you see that cute little bag and stuff like that. You be like, ooh, I want it. You get that bag and you forget a couple of weeks ago you had that bag and you're not even wearing that bag no more. No, you gotta make smart purchases. Whenever you do vacation, make sure it's a business vacation. Make sure you're learning. Make sure you getting something, or you getting content, getting something out of it. All right. Be smart about the purchases and the choices that you make, right? And also, when you make purchasing, make sure those purchases align to what you're doing. Make sure it's aligning to what you're doing. And captivate abundant mindset. You can't be saying you want to close the energetic money gap and you still got a poverty, a mindset thinking like, if I have this money, I ain't gonna have this to do. No, you already robbing yourself of your bag. Everything has to be ease. Even your thinking gotta be at ease. All right, let's keep going. So practice gratitude When you practice gratitude, you setting your mind up. You setting your day up. When it comes to money, it has different frequencies of money, right? How to obtain it, how to manage it, how to continue to flow it in it, all right? You got to know where you stand when it comes to the opportunities in creating wealth, right? Visualize yourself achieving it. I heard a lady say every time she she programmed her phone to hear the cha-ching sound, or she programmed her mind to start getting excited when it comes to 5 or 4 a figure income, because she know if she got excited when she received that money, more money was coming. Okay, let's keep going. Take action towards financial goals. Okay, take action towards your financial goal. You got to take action and be consistent and be personable, intentional, right? You got to be intentional toward your financial goals. And this could involve saving a certain percentage. Like you have your bank account, instead of you receiving the full amount, and you divvying out the money different ways, right? So you can't say, oh, if I have this money, I'm going to spend it. No. If you automatically have your account set up, you're going to automatically set yourself up to close the gap. All right? Let's move forward. You have to take and be inspired in your action. Sometimes when you're changing your life, you might be the only person in your life that wants that change, right? You might be the only person in your life that wants that change. But let me tell you something. When you learn how to be your own cheerleader, when you know how to sit with yourself, when you know how to do things with yourself, you don't have to have a crowd to do things with you. Sometimes you might have the wrong type of people align with you at that moment in time because you don't understand yourself. In order to close a money gap, you got to be in alignment with yourself. You got to be purposeful. You got to know how to break down barriers. When it comes to doing something that scares you, you have to know how to grow and develop different areas. You're going to have to know how to shift it, right? When it comes to different things like that, you have to take action. Stop waiting for somebody to do it for you. It's good to hire people, but you got to know how to execute it. You got to know how to show and direct people what you want them to do. Closing the money gap, it starts with you. But it also starts when you know how you want to gravitate towards. Okay? Align with abundance and gratitude. Shift your mindset towards I get to set up, man, I gotta do this. You see the difference? You changing how you view things. And let me tell you something. Changing the gap when it comes to energetic money gap. Stop looking at your employers and saying, I've been here 5 years and y'all still ain't gave me no raise. Or I've been here 6, 7 years and y'all gave me $1 raise or whatever. They already know what you worth, but they ain't gonna give it to you because you ain't fighting for your worth. Because you don't even stand in the confidence of your worth. You're not even negotiating your pay. You're not even doing your research before even going into that environment. You're not doing the research. You're not following up on your stuff. You're just letting things sit. People are not gonna come here and lead you to the money gap. You got to lead yourself. Are you bold enough to say, man, I take action today in my life. It's time for me to shake. It's time for something to shake. It's time for me to do some development so I can grow in this area when it comes to the money gap. What is leaking in my life? What areas I need to cut off? What areas I need to focus my time and my energy on so I can close this money gap? All right? Or is it time for me to go ahead and leave so I can go somewhere that's worth? Or do I have to create something so you can create unlimited source? All right? Stop waiting for people to say, here you go, here's a platform for you. You've been doing good. No, baby, no. You got to know where your worth lies. You got to start hanging out with the people that speak the same language language as you. Right? Even though you might not obtain the money right now, but your spirit in the way that you carry yourself and your attitude absorb, pour it out, that rich girl energy, that wealthy queen energy. All right? So if you know you the goddess, say, I am the goddess. Change the way that you think about money. And I had to change the way I thought about money because I came from the church section. All right? I was like, girl, let me go ahead and serve you. Let me do this and do this. But guess what? Guess who was burnt out? Guess who was spending all my time, energy, and resources when everybody else knew they worked around me? Because I was waiting for other people for me to help them and get them and grow them to this level. But when I start seeing my worth and I start doing those developments in those areas and start reading books to help me pass the learning curve, then I start saying, okay, wait a minute. It's an easier way to do this. I can do this with ease. I can get these contracts and only work 4 hours or 2 hours a day, making 4 or 5 figures. Right? But we don't even think it's out there because we don't think it's possible. We don't even think it's those corporate clients out there is willing to help us close the money gap. But we got to do it. We got to meet them halfway. Are you meeting them halfway? Are you meeting yourself halfway? Are you even getting up and saying, I am the currency, I am the goddess, I am that queen? Are you still stuck on the programming system that people are giving to you? I said the banking system. The banking system, when you at a school system, they just feeding you the knowledge, right? They just feeding you the knowledge. But you want to have a critical thinking experience, meaning, okay, now they give me the knowledge, but now I can get the process. I get to ask questions. I get to think on my own. Nobody's spoon feeding me. And that's the same way of closing the energetic money gap. Are you thinking on your own? Are you able to articulate and communicate your wealth? Took me a long time, queens, to see the wealth when it came to the money aspect and closing my own gap. But once you close the gap, you be like, man, I should have did this a long time ago. Right? And it starts with you. So high level queens, corporate baddies, high value queens that's ready to scale to the next level. If you feel like, man, she's talking some good stuff, but how can I break down the barriers in my own mind? I have something to support you, and that's the link in the bio. It's called Rewriting Your Own Story. Sometimes in order for you to close the money gap, you got to be willing to take that out of you. Meaning the things, the events, the cycles, the patterns that you said to yourself, rehearsing in your mind, or somebody else put labels on you. You got to be willing to take those things off. I can help support you. The link in the bio is called Rewriting Your Story, connecting with your soul. Or if you feel like, okay, I'm past that now, let me vibrate on a frequency so I can attract this money, because baby, you attract everything in your life. And that's going to be course number 2, the beautiful e-course. Okay, it's going to come with 6 courses. I'm going to have 2 courses about my story. Baby, I got quizzes so you could be a vibrational hacking queen. Because that means, baby, you're not waiting for anybody. You're getting it. It's coming to you because you tapped in on that vibrational frequency, on that level, right? People are coming to you because you're inviting that energy. You absorb and you're absorbing that frequency like, baby, I am the goddess. I am the queen. I am the currency. Okay? And I do my famous ear test teaching you about the different frequencies. But baby, you got to learn how to invest in your future to keep going. Because even the queens that's tapped in, they want to go to the next level. So if you're ready to upscale your life and transform your life, go to the link in the bio. I promise you, you won't regret it, because cash flow, revenue, that money scarcity mindset will no longer be there anymore. Okay? All right, y'all. High value queens, corporate baddies. My name is Arshia. I am an energetic alchemist coach. And I love you guys. Don't forget to be bold in who you are. And let's go ahead and tap on into that next level so you can get the money that is worthy to you. Okay? Let's go. I love you guys. Be bold in who you are. Mwah.